Hello everybody, Daniel here at the FMCG Guys, live from the Retail Media Summit UK, organized by SMG and the Path to Purchase Institute, and have a very special guest, I was going to say today, but it's not the first one today. So right now, it's Michael Schuh from Kroger. Welcome.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
No, not at all, and I think you're not the first one, but you're one of the first people to be on the CPG Guys podcast and on the FMCG Guys podcast. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
You've already won before starting.
It's a little bit surreal. It's the European version here. So
when were you on the CPG Guys podcast?
I believe I've been on twice. It was,
twice.
About 18 months ago, and then did a little bit more of an informal interview more recently than that. So.
At an event or something?
At an event, yeah.
So you did the first one 18 months ago, when that was like really when retail media really boomed. Well, it was booming in the US. Probably 3 years now it has been the boom since COVID and so on. How have you seen the space evolve, if you think 18 months ago till now?
Yeah, it just continued to evolve incredibly. At Kroger, we've been on our retail media journey. Actually, our 6-year birthday will be tomorrow.
Oh, wow.
We launched KPM 6 years ago, and so it's been incredible, even in 18-month chunks along the way to see how fast the industry has evolved, how things like getting capabilities up and live just to do the basics first has now evolved into how do we standardize, how do we make it easier on advertisers to really buy and integrate their retail media plans into their broader digital media investment strategy.
Yeah, standardization is a big word. I'm hearing it quite a lot. We can go to that later. I wanted to ask you, what is exactly your role within, what is Kroger Precision Marketing, right?
Kroger, yeah, so I'll do a little bit of a quick explanation. So Kroger is America's grocer. We've got about 2,800 stores across the continental United States. 8451 is actually the company I work for. So we're a wholly owned subsidiary of Kroger. We're a retail data insights and media activation engine for the Kroger company. And so Kroger Precision Marketing is our retail media brand underneath of that. I have the pleasure of leading our strategy and product teams. And so I look across the capabilities we develop across in-store, what we call on-site and then off-site media, where we bring capabilities to life for brands and agencies and advertisers of all kinds to leverage the power of our data assets, inventory, and customer connection to make an impact for their brand.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I was seeing your profile, and like people that I know in retail media, a lot of times they come from media or even from trade marketing or e-commerce. You come from product. So more like the business but / technical side of it.
I do, yeah, and I've actually been with the organization for about a dozen years now. So I actually started on the retail product side first and have really learned along with the retail media wave a little bit as, we were a small company in the early days and you kind of wore all hats, and certainly as we've grown, we've built out additional teams and we've brought on awesome talent from different parts of the ad tech or media ecosystem, and a big believer in bringing together people from different backgrounds from a product standpoint to help build the right capabilities that are really going to matter for the end user.
Yeah. What was retail product when you started?
I actually worked on some of our pricing and promotions software tools.
Oh wow!
And so how do we help Kroger and other retailers optimize price spreads and categories?
So really core product.
Evaluate the success of promotions. So if there's a must buy or a buy 5 save 5, was that successful? Did I give too much margin away? And so that's had a lot of positive benefits on how I've been able to bring measurement capabilities to the retail media space too.
Of course, because it's technical but deeply analytical as well. So you said 6 years ago Kroger decided to start this retail media branch. What prompted that 6 years ago when probably nobody even called it retail media back in the day?
I don't know if the term was coined yet, we saw an opportunity. We've always had a big insights business helping CPG companies in the US understand their consumers and who's buying what at Kroger, and we just kept hearing that there was this opportunity to turn those insights into action. How do I then, I see my households are declining, I see I'm losing share, I want to launch this new product. How do I then activate on that? How do I leverage the power of the behavioral data asset that a retailer like Kroger has to integrate that into my plans? And we had done some, even longer than 6 years ago, we had done some early tests and sort of proven out some of the results, and that led us to really launch the brand, launch the capability, and grow since then.
And if we were talking about COVID before, which I think is in the US is a good milestone point for retail media. I think that's probably when the term retail media became popular. How have you seen the evolution? I was asking you 18 months before, but I'm interested 3 years. How have you seen the evolution?
Yeah, certainly, e-commerce exploded and, we like to say sometimes doubled overnight or accelerated a trend that was already happening, in 2020. And, luckily Kroger made the right investments to create a really seamless experience for our customers. So, your loyalty card is tied to your digital account. I can walk around the physical store and use my mobile app to download coupons or to wayfind, and that investment really helped Kroger meet the customer need when overnight they had to start getting groceries delivered to their house or picking it up at the store. And so that was certainly a tumultuous time a little bit, but our capabilities certainly accelerated as part of that. There was a renewed sort of focus, or maybe a new focus on that as not just a conversion mechanism, but then broader, how can that data asset then power brands investment more holistically. We as a grocer see customer purchases 1, 2, 3 times a week sometimes. That frequency and that duration over time is really important, because when a customer changes that behavior, we ask why. And we help a brand understand what to do next when they enter a new category, or when they have a major life event like building a family, or any number of other things.
What do you think, also for the European listener to understand better, what do you think is Kroger's USP? Why do your customers trust Kroger for their daily shopping instead of the other companies, your competitors that everybody knows about?
Yeah, we have the unique advantage, and I'll get to that in a second, of 96% of our in-store sales being tethered to our loyalty card.
Wow.
And so what Kroger's really done a really nice job of is reinvesting in the value for the customer to create that trusted value exchange. So when customers scan their loyalty card, they not only get discounts on prices on that immediate transaction, but they earn fuel points to reduce their cost per gallon at the pump. They do all kinds of other things. We invest back in them to drive personalized offers and personalized messaging, as well as just across the broader global, not global, Kroger company. We invest in things like zero. We have a big initiative around zero hunger, zero waste. We try to eliminate food waste in our local communities, and have a lot of different community events and community reward programs that help truly Kroger customers feel like Kroger, is a part of their life and part of their journey locally.
96% loyalty cards. That talks a lot about customer loyalty as well, no?
It does, yes, yeah. So, and we know that the customer that is very loyal, is very digitally engaged, is coming back more frequently. They're often a hybrid shopper now. They're shopping online and in store, doing big fill-in trips online so that they don't have to carry the 18-pack of paper towels or big carbonated beverages across the store. They can do that online, have us do that for you, and then do some of the fill-in trips in between for meats and produce and other things that they want to kind of feel and touch on their own.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
What's been the post-COVID, the return to a certain normality and so on? How have you seen that online in-store split evolve?
It's continued. Online has continued to grow in the U.S. And I think in the UK, at least my understanding is the e-commerce penetration is still quite a bit higher than it is in the US. I think it accelerated, and maybe there's a geography component to how spread out the US is. But certainly it accelerated in 2020. 2021 was kind of a lighter year, but 22 and 23 have really gotten back to strong growth from an e-commerce standpoint, but probably off a lower base than is present here in the UK. So it's continued to be part of our shoppers' journey, and something that just continues to evolve and become a bigger part of what we're doing.
Okay, and considering that your role is US, What brings you here to London?
We've got a good relationship with the Path to Purchase Institute. I've been involved with the IAB actually in their Measurement Standards Committee. Actually helped co-chair the Measurement Standards Committee in the U.S. And we just published a first version of those about a month ago. And so I'm excited to talk to some people here about what's going on in the UK and in Europe from a measurement standardization standpoint. What are brands and agencies feeling? We've as part of that committee, we had a lot of just conversation amongst retailers, and I think that's for me that's the important part of it is brands need to be part of the conversation, but they can't solve it on their own. The retailers have to come together to do that, and I think doing that internationally is an important part of it too.
Since you're doing it, why not do it internationally?
Right, and so there's a lot we can learn from each other. Even competitive retailers can learn from each other and help drive the right practices and transparency, importantly, so that brands are really empowered to have the right conversations with their retail partners, not just see retailers as kind of a black box of measurement solutions, because that's not what we're trying to be. We're trying to lift and raise the bar on what good looks like.
Yes, I mean, talking about standardization, that kind of forces you to be on the same table and dialogue with your competitor, with your most intimate competitors, really, no?
That's right. Yeah. It really does. It forces that conversation, and obviously that's uncomfortable at times, but I think it's an important purpose for us in the industry. The digital advertising ecosystem has grown fast over the years, and there's some practices that are really strong, and there's some practices that need a relook, and I think that's part of what retail media is helping to do, is helping to challenge some of those existing practices and rewrite the playbook on what good looks like for a brand investment.
I'm speaking with IAB later, so I'll be asking them what are the main contention and controversy points between retailers, but I'll save you from this one. Coming in the UK, like what for you are the main learning points from this market that maybe you'll bring back?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. I think there are areas where the UK and Europe are ahead or doing things a little bit differently than the US and vice versa. And so I'm excited to do a few store tours. Honestly, the store formats and layouts are quite a bit different in some respects. And we're on our own journey with how we modernize the customer experience in store and think about that differently. I'm excited for some of the conversations and learnings around what brands are expecting of us. I'm excited to talk to some of the other international retailers. We've actually talked to quite a few international retailers over the last few years to better understand their business, their market, how we can apply some of those learnings in our space too. So there's a lot that can be learned from any conversations and just challenging each other to think differently.
And Kroger, I thought it was very interesting that uniquely, as a US retailer, you had this partnership, or maybe still have it, with Ocado, right?
We do,
which is a UK e-commerce player.
We do, yeah. So I was excited to see one of the Ocado trucks out yesterday. We've been working with the Ocado team over the last several years to open automated fulfillment centers in the US on a hub and spoke model. And so there's one in my backyard in Cincinnati. There's a variety spread across the country, and we're still investing in those. But it's a big part of how we know we can solve that customer need, get groceries to them faster, make sure they are what they would expect. If they want ice cream or butter or whatever, it's got to be frozen and rock hard when we get it to them, right? And so those trucks with Kroger associates, trained to deliver and to do it right, are a big part of that. And Ocado's been hugely helpful in helping us kind of build out that infrastructure and leverage their technology to help us solve that customer need.
And I guess that also they brought in all the know-how of e-commerce from the UK as a nationwide player and so on.
Absolutely.
Yeah, interesting. What advice do you have for FMCG/CPG brands in terms of how can they better leverage Kroger, for example, as a retail media network?
My advice to brands always is to challenge us more. I think brands are learning a lot. Some of the old traditional silos around trade and commerce and brand, those are really breaking down. And how brands organize themselves, educate themselves, and have that transparent dialogue with their retail partners is what's going to help us work together. Because it shouldn't be this carrot and stick type, at least in our view. It shouldn't be a carrot and stick type relationship. It's how do we build brands together?
Yeah.
How do we build categories together? How do we solve customer needs? And I think too often, some of it's the standardization and transparency that needs to be in place first, but I think too often brands and agencies are hesitant to challenge their retail partners, and at least I'll speak for Kroger, we welcome that.
Yeah, and I think that it happens sometimes with the client vendor relationship where you have that type of dynamic where they're afraid to challenge each other, and I think it's good to, as you said, have that open dialogue.
Absolutely.